Let's create a simple survey quickly. Everyone loves a good workflow. So let's take a look at what creating a simple survey entails. There are a number of key steps. We need to plan, jump into our application, choose the template we want to work with, design and test our survey, share it when it's ready, and repeat the process as needed. So the first stage, that is the planning and review stage. Review if you've done this before. Planning. And yes, you should plan, even just a little bit. Now, what I'm going to go through here is not a comprehensive list of planning for a survey, but this will get you started for a simple survey. First up, why? Why are we creating this survey? What is the purpose of this survey? Who is this survey aimed at? Do they know you, your project, your topic, your rationale? Are they used to answering surveys? Are they used to answering these types of surveys? Who are the stakeholders? Who's involved? Who is contributing to the creation of this survey? Who needs to get this data or this information from you at the end that you will present to, for example? Who will contribute to understanding the data or the results? What do you need to get out of it? Typically, you're trying to get some answers. You're gathering data. You could be gathering data from a broad audience or population. You might need to capture observations in the field or capture data about assets in the field. You might need to collaborate to do so. You might need to do different stages and types of reporting. And ultimately, you want to make decisions based on the data. And very importantly, do not skip this. What worked or what did not work the last time you did this? If you're brand new to this territory, do you have time baked in to actually test, to upskill, to play with the technology? Ultimately, you want to get to this. You want to be able to understand or have an idea of your audience. You need to know the purpose of this survey, so that you can then do things like put your questions on paper and start to design the types of questions that you want to ask. So I would typically use something simple to help me with this planning, for example, Excel. And ultimately, I would get to something very simple like this for a quick survey. Now again, depending on the scale of your survey, this can take a while. If you were scaling a survey up to full-blown census level, this is not going to cut it. You need to do more. But for a quick survey, your first survey, testing things out, this will get you started. So for me, I created a survey recently that was for the GIS community, the geospatial community of all users, all levels. I wanted to collaborate. The purpose was to collaborate with the users to try and put together a webinar program that included as much of their input as possible. I also then had some questions that would help me understand what they need. So around GIS experience, where they live, core GIS areas they were interested in, core topics, industry examples and workflows. And then I thought about the types of question that I would need to pose. Most of mine ended up being a multiple choice or maybe a single choice or a selection of some sort, with one being a drop-down. And I selected a drop-down, for example, versus a map, because for my audience, which could include beginners, that might be easier and quicker for them to answer that question. So I quickly planned this out, and then I jumped into the creation of the actual survey itself. So the first step after planning is to jump into the application. So for me, I jumped into ArcGIS Online, and then I accessed ArcGIS Survey123 from there. Now you need credentials to access and use these particular items. So in this case, I went to arcgis.com, which is ArcGIS Online, and I clicked Sign In. And from here, it will ask me for credentials. My typical way to log in is using this set of credentials here, username, password, but you may also have access through your organization. If you're unsure, reach out to your GIS team, reach out to your admin, ask them, hey, do I have access to our ArcGIS Online organization? And if so, can you show me how to get in there? And then you can get set up with Survey123. You can also access it via Survey123 directly, and it will also have a sign in button here. You click sign in and it will look very similar. So you'll have your ArcGIS login or through your organization's URL. Once I've put my credentials in, I will be able to access Survey123 from within ArcGIS Online, or if I've gone through Survey123 directly, it will go straight to what you will see in a moment. From here, I can access Survey123 from the Apps button. By clicking the Apps button, finding Survey123, you may need to scroll down. Mine is near the top. Clicking once on Survey123 will then open the application. Once I am into Survey123, the next stage is to select my template. So I can select a template once I've clicked New Survey, select the template, and then click Get Started. So this is where we finished in the last step. For this step, selecting the template, I need to click New Survey. From here, I can select a blank survey, some additional industry templates, or I can work with Survey123 Connect. We're going to start with a blank survey, so I click Get Started. The next step is to design and test the survey. There are a number of steps in this particular stage of the process. You will have to do things like create your titles, labels, descriptions, add those questions, preview and test those questions, change the appearance of the actual survey. There's some additional options in there as well around language, for example, and then publish and test again. And this is an iterative process. So make sure, even for a simple survey that we're going to create here, bake in a little bit of time to do this. Jumping into where we left off, you can see we have a survey ready to go. The title is currently Untitled Survey 3 because I have other untitled surveys in my library of surveys. You can just click in here, update that title to make it more useful. So GIS Survey Example, nice and easy. And it updates once you click away. You can see here we have a survey title. If I click on this, it will change the pane over on the right hand side. So I can update the survey header from within here. And I can also click on the description where you might need to put some information about the survey, what the directions are going to be. You might put in things like links, etc., to more information about the survey, some information for the taker of this. And then at the moment, there are no questions in here. So again, same thing, you can just click on the survey title, put a useful title, description, so insert your description. Next, we need to add some questions to our survey. So click on Add. From here, you can then select the question types you want to add to your survey. And you can do this in two ways. One, simply quickly click on a question. The second way is to drag and drop. So for example, I used quite a lot of multiple options or multiple selects in here. So I can click once on multiple select down here, and it will automatically populate on the left-hand side. Making sure this is selected, I'm going to click Delete and show you the drag and drop. So click once, hold, drag, drop. So completely up to you. But once that question here is highlighted, it's active, you'll see on the right hand side we've switched automatically to the edit pane. And here we can add the label or the title of that question, provide some additional information potentially about how to answer that question, and then play with the choices. So for example, what is your level of GIS knowledge? And you'll know from my survey there was a version of this. Please select one item. Now I could have selected a single select question type for this if I wanted to as well, but just for the purpose of the demo, let's use this. So I can put in here beginner, intermediate, a Pro, or Advanced if you want to. We can also add options in here, take them away, and I can allow Other, which will allow them to then click Other and put some additional information in if they wish. You can see I can change the appearance very quickly in here, everything updating in real time on the left. I can say that I want this to be a required question. And if I wanted to, I can set a constraint. So for this one, I'll show you how to do this. So click Edit. I want count is at most 1. So I just want you to be able to enter one item. So please select only one response. Click OK and save. And do this for each of your questions. So just jump back to add each of your questions. And if, for example, if I click there, you'll see there's another one added. And we can always go back and forth between the questions to edit them by simply selecting the question. It automatically goes to the edit pane. And then from here, I actually want to preview this to make sure it works. So click Preview. When the preview opens, you'll notice on the right-hand side, I can preview in desktop, phone, or tablet mode. So feel free to jump in and check those. For the moment, I'm sticking to desktop. So in here, I can test the question. So let's say I'm intermediate. Okay, that seems to work. Submit will not work in preview mode. What I do want to test is it actually using my constraint? So let's click Pro. Yes, please select only one response. What if I wanted to select Other? Aha. Okay, so that works. Good. Preview of that question works. If you remember from my planning, I had a question related to where are you from? Where do you live? And I selected to use a drop-down as the method of gathering that data. And I selected that method versus maps or location lists or addresses, for example, because I just need the bare country. That's it. That's all I want to know. And I didn't want people worrying about how to answer it best. I didn't want people worrying about how to actually drop the pin on the map if they've never done that before. So I wanted it to be simple and easy. So to do that, I used the drop-down option. So again, click the button and it appears on the left. I could have dragged and dropped. This is going to be a question that asks, where do you live? Please select one country from the drop-down. Now, what I have to do here is enter the options for them to answer this question. And that might take a while because there's a lot of countries. So I don't want to do this manually. What I want to do is pull that data from somewhere else. So what I did, I didn't use a batching and editing process in here. What I actually used was from layer. So I am going to find a layer available to me and to the public that has that information. So I'm going to do that from the Living Atlas. I'm going to look for something that has countries. Aha, there it is. World countries, click that, OK. And then I need to select, well, where in that data is that actual information? And in this particular layer, there is a column in the data set or a field in that data set that's called country name, and that has that information. Now, I know this already. What you would need to do if you're unsure is do your due diligence on this and go check it in ArcGIS Online, for example. But for me, I know this field has that information, so I'm happy with that and click OK. So you can see now, extract country from world countries. And I can do this in random order, but what it will automatically do is do it alphabetically. So let's keep it at that because that's easier. And I do want this to be a required question. I need that information. Save. And as before, preview. Let's test. Okay, so we'll see the second question added here. So we have our original one. We know that works. From here, we want to see where do you live? Please select one country from the drop-down. Excellent, that works. Let's choose Australia. Brilliant. Continue this process of adding and editing those questions, previewing them, saving as you go along. When you are comfortable that you have your survey built, jump in and do some additional updates and edits to your survey. So start with appearance, for example. From here you can choose existing themes, or you can do something like use an organization's shared theme. You can jump in here and use it from an existing survey, or you could do things like create a custom theme. And that can be where you put in background images. You can change the colors of all the different fonts, for example. And you can change the image that's in the background of the survey itself and the actual web page back here. So go in here, play, preview them, test them, see what works. You can also edit some additional items. So let's jump to options. You can have a look at the thank you screen, and from within here you can change what this says and you can change what it looks like, so font color, etc. Very simple text box. You can also put an action for after submission. So for example, reload the survey, automatically reload the survey. Something I like to do is automatically redirect somewhere. So for example, I might put in the webinar homepage in here. You can also manage the survey languages. And this is relatively new. So you can see the questions on the left-hand side. I haven't done a whole lot, but you can see there's 2 questions in here. And we can actually add a language from up here. I'm actually going to choose another language. So let's choose Gaeilge or Irish. Click OK. And add. And you can see we have this translation process underway. Once the translation has completed, you can actually update the content in here. So if it doesn't get it quite right, if it forgets a fada or an agu, you can jump in here and update that information. So there are a couple of things in here I would change, but it'll do for the purposes of this. So it also includes things like the outro. Thank you, Gurv Mahagut. So when I'm done, click Done. And again, save. Last but not least, once I am happy with my edits, my appearance, I've tested it in preview mode, I may want to test it more formally. And that may require me to publish. At the moment, that little red dot signifies that this has not been published or that edits have been made since it was last published. So I'm going to click Publish and Publish. Excellent. Okay, it has been published. Let's copy the link into an incognito browser to see if it works. So in here, I'm going to pop the URL and click Enter. See? It's asking me to sign in. Good. That means it's still private. But if I click on this link here, in this browser, because I'm already logged in, I will get access to the actual survey. So from here, I can put in the level of GIS knowledge, beginner, where do I live, Australia, and click Submit. And you can see here the redirect. And I could have cancelled that redirect if I wanted to from within here. Jumping back here, I can jump to the Analyze tab up here. And from here, I can see that data in real time. Now at this stage, if I've tested that, I don't like the look of it, I've forgotten a question, I don't like how the question was asked, I can jump back in to the Design tab and I can still edit these, save them, and publish them again. So for example, if I added not sure, you can see I automatically get this publish and the red dot again. So I need to save that, continue with whatever else I need to update or edit, click Publish again. Okay, it's published successfully. This is now available for myself and any admins in my organization to test. But I might be at a point where I want to share it with a broader audience, maybe my organization or potentially with the public. And I can do that quickly from within here from the Collaborate tab. So at the moment, I wanted to open in the browser directly. That's good. You can do other options within here, like asking them how to open it, whether it's in the browser or the app itself, or I can open it directly in Survey123. Again, depends on your audience, right? Who can submit to this survey? Currently, it's private. So I can potentially, if I want to get some of the broader organization I'm working in to test it, or if they're my intended audience, select members of my organization. Or I can select members of particular groups that I may have in my organization. For me, I want to make this public. So we click Public. Then we need to think about what those submitters can do. Add new records, add an update, add, update and delete. Public, let's not let them do that for now. Let's just add new records. That's it. Just want your input on this. Draft mode, I'm not going to work with at the moment, but you can enable a draft mode in here as well. Do we want to allow multiple submissions? For now, no. So we need to change that. And then the survey status in here. Is it open? Is it closed? So at the moment it's open. That's the automatic. But I can close it. And if I scroll down, currently closed, thanks. And again, I can update that message. Or I can schedule it to open between a particular period. At the moment, let's just do open and click save. And again, don't assume it's ready to go. Test it. Okay, saved successfully. So let's go back to our survey link. Let's copy that URL and pop it back into that private browser. This time, the survey will open without asking us for credentials because I have asked it to be public. You can also see in the top left-hand side, I can switch between languages very quickly as well. So that's brought us to that share step. We've created it, we've made it public, maybe across the organization, we've decided what they can do with it. Now, it's time to gather that data. So between now and the next time we conduct our survey or create a survey, a little bit of a side quest in between here. Once we start to get that data, or once we close our survey, we have to clean the data, we analyze it, we work on reporting. That could be you and your team. It could be external people that are doing that for you. But eventually, what you're going to do is get back to creating your next survey. And when you do create that next survey, what you're going to do is again plan and potentially review how this process went the first time. So that was a quick look at how to create a simple survey. Hopefully you got something out of that and enjoy making your first survey.